So, a friend sent me a video about um, letting go of our family energies. And I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to be able to get into right off the bat because I am expecting uh, a visitor. Um, it is talking about letting go of our family energies. So, the families that we are born into. It is speaking about light workers and why we come into the world. And though I have never really claimed that label as a light worker, if I understand that it is just a label, this video that I'm going to post a link to somewhere in the description, if that is what a light worker is, then I will fit into that category. Um, I came into this life and knew I was different or unusual right away. Um, in other videos, I have said this. I remember being given a choice before I came into this life to either be an abuser or to be the abused. Because there was either, I thought there was a lesson in it, but once I heard this video, heard this audio recording of this wonderful gentleman reading this text, it's more apparent to me now that I assumed the responsibility of being the abused to help clear some karmic energies that needed to be cleared from my human family line. This human family line from this life experience. And it's really wonderful to know that. And when I listened to it, there was this very deep validation that this is what occurred, because I have transformed that. I have been able to let go. I have been able to distance myself as I needed to from the energies and from the situations, even from a loving place. So I don't harbor anything like resentment or anger toward my family anymore. There was a time when I was younger that those things were very apparent to me, and that was part of the process. I don't think that I ever felt it intensely, though. I recognize in this video all of the coping mechanisms that I did experience throughout my younger years. I did a lot of those, the retreating into myself, the learning how to navigate and stay alive in those really what I would consider unhealthy situations, or less than loving, let's say that, less than loving situations. And it was not the fault of the people around me, because I would often say that about my mother. Even though my mother was not capable of loving me or my siblings the way I would have liked, I always knew that she gave what she could give. This was what she was capable of. And I never really felt any negativity toward her for it. It did reach a point where I had to say, okay, I love you, but I can't continue this journey with you. And so I must go. I must go and let that behind. And I did that. In my personal family experience, my siblings and I love my siblings dearly, but we are not close. And I did speak to my sister about this at one point, and I said, the reason we are not close is because even though we love each other, even though we grew up in the same home, when we are together, the joy is equaled by the painful experiences of the life that we shared when we shared that life. And so it creates as much sadness as it does joy. So there's definitely a joy in it where I can appreciate them. And on a deep level, what it is I appreciate them for going through this journey with me. I appreciate them for being part of that experience. Because there's a deeper aspect of me that realizes that they chose that too. And so now, where I am in this adult experience is that I can appreciate them. I can still love them. I love them greatly. I wish wonderful things for them and know that that is available to them always. And I am so grateful and appreciative that they put that time in with me. And what I want to say is the same thing is happening all over this planet. But now it's really obvious to me, just having listened to this video, why I felt all the things I felt, why I had all of these understandings and inclinations very early on coming in. I didn't know why. Didn't know why these things were as they were. Because, different things I've listened to said, when we come into this life, we come in based on a vibration, based on where we are vibrating. And for many, that is probably true. But I really got the feeling like I came here, not because that's where I was vibrating, but I really came here to serve in some capacity. I was here to do something. It didn't have anything to do with, and maybe to some point it did. But that remains to be seen. I can also see the connection between my mother and my father and how they were incremental in my ability to awaken and to move on. I needed the masculinity of my father's understanding to be able to finally say, okay, I need to move on from this. I need to be at peace. And so because self-love means I need to move on from this. And so because of my father's influence, not present, because he was not present in my life in that way until recently, but it was something that I inherited from him that allowed me to be able to close that door and let God handle it. And I needed to get out of it. Like, okay, I've done everything. I've put in as much as I can put in, and now I need to take care of myself and turn it over to God's source and say, now it's whatever you want it to be. And so and it's really funny because shortly after I did that, I reconnected with my dad within a couple of years, who this has been a 40-year absence in our connection on a regular basis. So after 40 years, I reconnected with my dad, but the first thing that had to happen was I had to close the door to the other. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and I'm just putting this out there because if you want to go ahead, this video that I'm gonna post a link to of this reading, it is for light workers or people who I'm gonna say who are on a consciousness level to serve, that have a deep level of compassion and empathy. Will find that interesting or relevant to them. Highly sensitive people, it's relevant to, I would say. But it's a wonderful reading, and so I hope that you enjoy it. And in peace and love, may you be blessed.